My sister's boyfriend raised his glass and smirked at me. "So," he said loudly enough for the whole table to hear, "what exactly do you do again?" I smiled politely. "Consulting." He chuckled. "Consulting? That's what unemployed people call it when they're between jobs." Laughter broke out around the dinner table. My sister laughed the loudest. I didn't, because I knew something he didn't, and in less than 10 minutes, he would too. My name is Adrian Cole, and I've learned that the loudest person in the room is usually the most insecure. It was my mom's 60th birthday dinner, private dining room, 30 guests, extended family, friends, business acquaintances, white tablecloths, soft jazz in the background, expensive wine flowing freely. My sister Vanessa had insisted on bringing her new boyfriend, Derek. Derek was the kind of man who wore confidence like a rented suit. Loud handshake, overpriced watch, constant need to dominate every conversation. He worked in corporate finance for a mid-sized investment firm downtown, entry-level management, nothing extraordinary. But tonight, he felt important, and I, apparently, was his punchline. Vanessa leaned toward him playfully. "Adrian's always working on something mysterious." Derek smirked. Translation, no stable job. More laughter. Even my uncle muttered, "At least Derek's climbing the ladder." I took a slow sip of water. See, 3 years ago, I left my executive position at a major logistics company. Publicly, I resigned. Privately, I bought out a failing tech startup that specialized in supply chain optimization software. Everyone thought I'd made a mistake. Friends told me I was reckless. Family assumed I'd failed. Vanessa once said, "Maybe stability just isn't your thing." I didn't correct them, because rebuilding something from the ground up takes silence. The startup was bleeding money when I acquired it. Poor management, weak leadership, good product, terrible execution. Within 18 months, we turned it around. Within 2 years, we became profitable. Last year, we signed a contract with one of the largest investment firms in the region, Derek's firm. But Derek didn't know that, because I operate through a holding company, and I prefer staying invisible. Back at the dinner table, Derek leaned forward. "So seriously," he continued, "no office, no team, just vibes and Wi-Fi?" The table laughed again. My mother shifted uncomfortably. "Derek, that's enough." But Vanessa squeezed his arm. "Oh, relax, it's just teasing." Teasing. Interesting word. I checked my phone under the table. Right on schedule. A notification popped up. Quarterly performance review meeting moved to tomorrow. From Falcon Ridge Capital, Derek's firm. I placed my phone face up on the table. The name was visible. Derek glanced down mid-laugh. His smile paused. "Falcon Ridge?" he asked. "Yes," I replied casually. "You know them?" He frowned slightly. "That's my firm." I nodded. "I'm aware." The room went quieter. Vanessa blinked. "You work there?" "No." I leaned back in my chair. "They work with me." Silence. Derek's jaw tightened. "Meaning?" "Meaning," I said calmly, "my company provides the optimization infrastructure that reduced your operating losses by 18% last quarter." His expression shifted. "That was an internal initiative." "No," I corrected gently, "it was Project Helix." His face lost color. Project Helix was the confidential restructuring strategy only upper management and select team leads were aware of. Derek had bragged about being part of it once. He stared at me. You're Cole?" I smiled slightly. "Yes. Cole wasn't just my last name. It was the registered holding company listed in the contract." Vanessa looked between us. "What's happening?" Derek swallowed. "He's the external principal consultant overseeing the software transition." I tilted my head. "And majority stakeholder." The table went completely silent. My uncle stopped chewing. My cousin slowly lowered her wineglass. Derek leaned back in his chair like the air had been knocked out of him. "That's not possible," he muttered. "It's very possible," I said evenly. "In fact, I have a performance evaluation with your division head tomorrow morning." His breathing changed slightly, because he knew what that meant. He wasn't evaluating me. I was evaluating him. Vanessa forced a laugh. Okay, that's weirdly impressive. Why didn't you say something? I shrugged. No one asked. Derek tried to recover. Still, consulting isn't exactly stable long-term. I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out a folded document. Quarterly earnings summary, projected expansion, signed multi-year extension. I slid it across the table toward him. He looked at the number at the bottom, his lips parted slightly. That can't be right. It is. My mother stared at me. Adrian, you own that? 81%. The jazz music felt too loud now. Derek wiped his hands on his napkin. So you're saying... I'm saying, I said calmly, that technically part of your bonus structure depends on how satisfied I am with your department's performance. The silence was suffocating. Vanessa's cheeks flushed red. Derek cleared his throat. This is inappropriate. I called you unemployed. I'm simply clarifying. He looked around the table, searching for support. There wasn't any. My uncle coughed awkwardly. Well, that's impressive. Vanessa forced a smile. Babe, it's fine. But Derek wasn't fine, because he just realized something worse. His promotion review was scheduled next month, and I had access to internal metrics through our integration dashboard, metrics that reflect directly on him. He leaned closer to me and lowered his voice. You wouldn't mix business with personal grudges. I held his gaze. I don't hold grudges. I paused. But I do remember who laughs. Vanessa's expression changed. Adrian, that's not fair. Fair? I asked gently. Was that word used earlier tonight? No one answered. The rest of dinner was quiet. Derek barely spoke. Vanessa avoided eye contact. The laughter never returned. The next morning, I attended the review meeting. I didn't sabotage him. I didn't exaggerate. I simply presented performance data. Missed targets, poor communication between his team and ours, delays he'd blamed on software, which were actually managerial. The board took notes. 2 weeks later, Derek was reassigned to a lower visibility role. Not fired, but sidelined. Promotion postponed indefinitely. He texted me that night. You humiliated me. I stared at the message, then replied, You did that yourself. Vanessa called the next day. You ruined my relationship. I didn't say a word that wasn't true. She was silent. Then softer. You could have warned us. I tried. You were laughing. Months passed. Falcon Ridge expanded their contract. My company doubled its valuation. I stayed unemployed, at least publicly. Last week I received a LinkedIn notification. Derek updated his profile. Open to new opportunities. I closed the app. Sometimes revenge isn't dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. It's letting people underestimate you. It's letting them talk, and then letting reality correct them. Because the most dangerous person in the room is the one who doesn't need to prove anything. And I never did.